All right, let's get into it. Hi everyone, it's Isabella here and welcome back to another episode of I've Got You. Today's video, if you're clicking on this, we need to have a conversation because clearly you are needing it. I was scrolling on TikTok and sometimes I get inspiration because I see other people talk about problems that they're going through. And as you guys know on this podcast, I am like, hi, I've got you. And you know, I swear I've got you on everything, okay? One girl on TikTok was going on and she was like, this is what's happening in my relationship. And she was listing off several things that were happening to her. And then she's asking everyone, what do I do? Do I stay? Do I go? Is this too much? Is this wrong? Like when is it time to leave really? And a lot of the comments were doing what I knew they were going to do. They were like, girl, you got to go. This is not healthy. This is wrong. But it kind of made me think about the topic of questioning a relationship and when is the right time to go? When is the right time to leave? What are things that you should ask yourself to differentiate if you do need to go? There is something going on. And so I wanted to make a video pretty much being like, all right, if you are someone that's questioning your relationship and you're just kind of like, you don't feel good right now, everything feels like shit, we need to talk about it and go through if this is something that you need to leave for, whatever the case may be. A quick preface though, before we get into the big part of this is there's a difference between questioning a relationship because it makes you feel like shit and questioning a relationship because you're not used to this kind of love and healthy love. And also I'm going to make it clear too, you can realize that a relationship is not good for you while also knowing that they're a good person. Like that's a total real thing as well. I'm mainly going to focus on the big red flags and problems because I think those are some of the hardest things to fight through because you have so much feeling invested into some of these people and you're like, you care so deeply, yet you're fighting to stay. And I'm just going to go through a bunch of questions and things that I would tell friends to consider that I'm going to tell you guys because I think of you all as my family would consider things that you should think about just because you're clicking on this video. Now to get into the first part of all this, I think it's a really big red flag about your relationship if you are clicking on this and you are like hoping to get an answer from me right now. If you are literally questioning this very, very hard and deep down you don't feel good about it, you gotta go. I think that is the first sign that you need to bounce, that you need to go, that something is up, is if you're questioning it to begin with. And it's gonna depend. It's gonna depend. Okay, there's the slight percentage, like I said earlier, where it's like, oh, I'm just kind of questioning and nervous because I'm not used to healthy love. That's different. I'm talking about if you're like, fuck, I don't know. You literally have to think about writing down pros and cons pretty much. Like if right now, look at me right now, if you have a fucking pros and cons listing your notes app of this person that you're with, we already have pre-established that there is a problem going on. If it is not a fuck yeah, it's a fuck no. Because if you really care and love a person and it's going well, it's going good, it makes you feel good, you're going to want to be there. And if you're questioning, if you're like, oh, I don't know, if they're not making you feel good, then that is the first red flag. The second red flag we need to really pre-establish, and this is kind of like the big basics of everything, is if you are going through hiccups, we need to know the difference between hiccups and actually things that are just super unacceptable in relationships. If you are clicking on this video and you're like, should I stay or should I go? And the reason why you're contemplating is because they cheated on you, get the fuck out. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if I sound mean, I don't care if I sound rude. Do not listen to the weirdos on the internet that are like, my marriage got through infidelity. You can too. No, I'm not listening to that. Bethany, I know your husband Gerald cheated on you and you somehow were able to get through it. One, Gerald is ugly. There's no reason for you to sit through that. Two, you should have left the second you saw that shit. Three, the sheer amount of healing and oh my God, he'll do better, but you're still looking over your shoulder. No, we are not doing that. We are too young. We have way too much life ahead of us. The second we see shit like that, we leave. Hiccups are, whoops, I was having an attitude because I was tired and I wasn't nice to you. Hiccups are, oh, like I was projecting this, or man, I'm healing through something, like I'm working through something, but I'm doing the best that I can. There are hiccups in relationships, and then there are conscious decisions. Cheating is a conscious decision. Being a jackass to you consistently like that is a conscious decision. Going out of their way to be verbally abusive to you, it's a conscious decision. Being physically abusive, those are not hiccups in a relationship. Those are not things that should be excused. That is wrong. You need to go. So if you were someone who is going through that physical abuse, verbal abuse, they're cheating on you, they do not make you feel loved, those are not hiccups. Those are things you need to get the out over, okay? If you see and catch them liking a shit ton of half-naked girls on Instagram and they're making excuses, they're gaslighting you and they're turning you into the problem, you need to leave. Those are not signs of hiccups in a relationship, because a hiccup in a relationship is something that you can actually process through to where you guys are both not uncomfortable anymore. And I will full on consider that. A hiccup is where after a bit, you're okay. Because again, when you have hiccups, after a bit, you're okay. It's not a problem anymore. When you are dealing dealing with relationship hiccups, they're done. When you're dealing with the other problems, they're not done. You're still bothered. They're not resolving it. They feel resolved, but you still feel uncomfortable and off because they're not doing their part in fixing the problem. That's not a hiccup. That's a consistent pattern, and that's not going to disappear. So if that is happening right now, you need to see this person and realize, I don't want to live that way for the rest of my life, which is leading into my next point. This is a very big thing that I want everyone to consider is if you look at this person right now that you're dating, and if you're like, yeah, there's some things that I really wish that they would change. Well, picture this. Let's say that they never change right now. I'm sorry, but some of y'all are really hoping for change when you hope for the change. The person that you want to change, though, is not even doing anything to change. But let's say they don't change at all. Let's say quite literally nothing happens and they are the exact same way. Do you want that person to be around for the next 5 years? If they do not change whatsoever, is that what you want? And if you cringe at that thought, then you need to go. And by the way, I know there's got to be at least one of y'all that gets on this video and that's just like, but what if they change? What if they change? No, come in. Let's talk about that. I know there's many people who are hoping for change, who are wanting that person to get better. And many of y'all will stick to the idea that they gave you of who they were at the very beginning of the relationship. And oh God, I remember this so vividly. And please remember that when I'm talking to you about this stuff, I've been through many things, or I have had close friends who've been there. Like, I understand how hard and painful it is. I know I was in a position a long time ago where I was wanting and hoping for the old version of someone to exist. And that's not there, because if you want the old version of someone to exist like that, then that wasn't the real them. Because if that was truly how they were, they would be loving and good to you now. And we need to also know the difference between honeymoon stage and then comfortable love versus love bombing and completely turning into a different person, or technically the person that they are now. If you are sitting here like, God, they were so loving to me at the beginning. Like, I want that to come back. They say it's going to, but like, they were so good. They were so kind. They took me on dates. They were so sweet to me. They like catered to my love languages. They did what a good, healthy relationship is. And now they don't do anything at all. They don't put any effort into us. I'm the only one putting in effort. They're not nice to me. They make fun of me. Like, anything that is, then you need to go. And by the way, when I talk about drastic changes, I'm also not referring to someone turning from like a super duper loving person and love bombing you to just being like an abusive piece of shit. Someone can also be just lazy and not putting an effort for you. They don't have to be a horrendous person to still not be loving you right. They can still be a slightly piece of shit person because they're not doing what they should do. You need to look at them and see them as they are. If you've communicated, if you've been, this is really important to me, please. They know what it requires to keep you. They know that. Because how do I know that they know that? Because look at their effort in every fucking other aspect of their life in comparison to you guys in your relationship. And that is going to tell you everything you need to know. If they are doing the best that they can, always, for all their friends, they're always there. They will drop everything to go to golf. They will drop everything to go to hang out with them at the bars. They will do everything for their friends. They are super quick. It's not a problem. Versus you. It's a problem when you guys are out. They bitch and moan and complain when you guys are doing something together. They're like, when are we going to go home? Oh, this isn't fun. Oh, I have to take a picture of us, like pulling teeth. That should tell you everything. You know, they have self-control and they're a good person to their bosses, you know, but they're a jackass and so mean to you. They know control. They know the difference. They know self-control, but they're not practicing it because they know they can get away with it with you. I'm not going to and believe that whatsoever when they make excuses. If you see all this effort with dedicating time to learn a video game, dedicating time to take care of their vehicles, dedicating time to taking care of their friends, but they don't put that same exact effort into you, that is showing you who they are. So when they went into the whole love bombing mode, that is manipulation. They were trying to hook you in. So when what you're doing right now is you're sitting around waiting for that to come back. That wasn't them. That was what they knew they could do to get you interested. Now that they have you hooked and you're doing exactly what they want, you were putting in so much effort in hopes of getting it back. You are still around, you're pleading, you're being the most loving, amazing person ever, and they're not giving anything back. They know what they're doing. They are not stupid. They know exactly how they're treating you, but they know that you're going to still deal with it because you love them so much. Love is not going to solve things. Action will. And if someone's not putting in effort, if they wanted to, they will, and you need to go. So if you're waiting around wanting change, you're like, God, I wish they were like this. You know how they are. You know. And if you see how they are and how they're acting and how it devastates you when they put in more effort into their friends than you, it just absolutely kills you when they have so much fun out with their guy friends and then they just act like it's such a chore to go out on a date with you. Do you want that for the rest of your life? Like, flat out, you need to really think long and hard. Do you want that for the rest of your life, because that's exactly what it's going to be. And for those of you that are like, God, but I'm so scared of being alone. I know I've been there. Okay. But I am telling you right now, someone who has been in all of these stages, from being single and an insecure individual, and then getting into a horrific relationship, horrendous, everything I never would want or wish on my worst enemy, then into being completely single and doing the healing and getting better, and realizing what I deserve in life. If you had to choose between the shitty relationship you're in right now versus being alone, I would pick over and over being alone. I would pick dying alone over dying with an absolute asshole who would never value me in the way that I should be valued. And that's what you need to be scared of. You need to be scared of being exactly like the people who are stuck in horrendous marriages. That is no way to live a life. So I know that scares you to be alone, but it should terrify you even more to be an exhausted person with someone who does not truly love you, because good love is out there. It is 100% out there. And even if it wasn't, you are guaranteed happiness with you. Like, you know what you want. You know what you're going to get in life. You can have fun. You can have amazing friendships, having family connections. Like, you do not need a person. You do not need a marriage. You do not need none of that. Okay. You will never need it. It is a bonus. And that is all I will leave it as. And once you put that perspective into your head and know that you are going to be good, you should always choose being alone over being in a miserable person's presence every time. It should be terrifying to you to be in a miserable relationship for the rest of your life, because do you want to cry all the time because you're not getting the love you deserve? No, it's exhausting, because you know what this is going to do? And again, I'm trying to freak you out a little bit. Okay. Because I'm trying to kick your ass into gear. I've been there. This is the kind of shit that would kick my ass into gear. Do you want all of this to affect every little inch of you? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you know what my exhaustion did to me, because I was so mistreated. It made me not good at my work. I was exhausted. I was miserable. The life was drained out of my eyes. Like, truly, I wasn't eating well. I always had stomach issues. I had the worst anxiety. Do you want to live that way? No, you don't. And some of y'all are sitting here like, I feel that way. Exactly. You feel that way right now. You don't like it. It sucks. You're going to have to let go of what's hurting you and making you miserable, because I know that no one can truly control your emotions, but when you're around somebody constantly that is mistreating you and you feel like shit, you know where you don't belong. And deep down, you know the answer. You know you don't want this for the rest of your life. So you have to make the decision that this is not worth it, and you have to let it go. Now, the next thing we need to lead into is we need to look at if this is something that your future partner would do. So I know I actually mentioned this in a previous video I made talking about dating standards, but for those of you who are sitting here questioning your relationship, whether you're dating, married, whatever that is, okay, was this what you pictured yourself to experience? Honestly, was this what you pictured in a relationship? Now, let's be real clear. Human beings are just going to be human beings. We're all going to have bad days. We might get snippy if we're tired. We might just, accidentally, indirectly be like, oh, I was not nice because I was upset. Something like, we're going to have mistakes because we're human beings. I'm not wanting you to think of perfection. I'm wanting you to think of healthy, good love, because that is real. Is what you're experiencing right now what you pictured for your dream partner to treat you like? Did you picture them to disregard your feelings? Did you picture them, treating you like? Did you picture them not making you feel good? If you know that what your dream relationship is not what you're in, then that should scare you, and then you should go. And I know it's easier said than done, but you should have an idea of what you want in life. You should have a perspective of the basics, where you have someone that's gentle and kind and loves you so much and is considerate of your feelings and emotions. And if they don't do those things, you can get that. Like, that is out there. You have a right to want that in a relationship. But if you're not getting the bare minimum and basics, then you should go. And speaking of bare minimum basics, I think people forget that this is the bar. This is the floor level basicness when it comes to a relationship, okay? Many of y'all that are clicking on this video, you're not even getting this, okay? You aren't even getting the basics to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship at all. You're not getting the basics of love and kindness and trustworthiness, empathy, and someone who's loving to you, thinks you're the most amazing human being ever. You're not getting that, okay? So you're begging for scraps at this point. Was that what you pictured in a dream relationship? Is that what you pictured when you were younger for a healthy relationship, when you're like, gosh, I can't wait till I find my person? Is that what you pictured? No. Is this what you pictured? And is it replicating some of the shit that you might have grown up with? Like, let's think about it. Is this replicating past traumas? Is this replicating the most worst relationships you've ever seen? Or is it actually replicating the wonderful, amazing, healthy relationship that is progressing and working to become the best it can be and the best it can be? If you're not progressing as a relationship, if you're not even getting the bare minimum, you have got to go. Because one thing, and this is leading into my next point, you should not beg to be loved. You should not beg to get the bare fucking minimum. Oh my God, I have seen way too many girls do this. I literally saw on social media, there was a fucking TikTok trend where it was like, how many likes can I get on this video for Jeremy to propose to me? And then fucking Jeremy's like,
you have to get 1 million likes on TikTok, and then you have to have Sydney Sweeney comment, and then I'll propose to you.
get the up. And I mean that with all the love in the world. Like, I literally, if a man is doing that shit to you, what a loser. How much of a pathetic person. First of all, that's embarrassing to you. Embarrassing to you. Second of all, why are you begging for that? If a man likes you and wants to, he's going to do it. Because guess what? What would they do? If they're really wanting something, they're going to do it. Okay. If any person, no matter who it is, if any person wants you, they're going to make it happen. I am not going to accept this bullshit of, well, I don't know if they want. Shut up. If they want to, they will. You begging for someone to give you the bare minimum, you begging for someone to love you, right? If they want to and if they care about you, they're going to. And all these actions they're showing you, that is a language. That is how they are expressing to you that they care about you. And if all of their actions are lining up and every single action that you experience is making you feel like complete and utter shit, then you need to go. You need to leave, because begging for someone to do the bare minimum and treat you right and love you and treat you with respect is not something that you have to do, because your future husband, your future wife, whoever that may be, they're not going to do that to you. You're not going to have to beg for the bare minimum. You're just not going to have to do that. So you should not be begging for someone to do you well. They should look at you and see how you're hurting and see how you're feeling and be like, I need to do the best that I can for this person. And that's not going to mean perfection, because no one can be perfect at all. But that's going to mean effort. That's going to mean trying. That's going to mean saying something and then doing it, not saying something and then completely making it, obvious that's an empty promise. That actually also leads to my next point now, which is empty promises. There are many of you that are questioning relationship because you keep getting told things, right? You keep getting told, first of all, oh yeah, that coworker, no, I don't have anything with her, even though the actions show otherwise. No, there's nothing with her. Really? You and I both know way better. Okay. There's something going on, in your gut, deep down. I'm going to do better. I'm not going to do this anymore. And they keep doing it. It's not like they're working on it and practicing, change doesn't happen overnight, but they're blatantly doing it still. No, if there's some people where you're like, hi, this really hurts me, I really wish you wouldn't do it. And then they're an asshole to you and then they gaslight you and then you're really either like, they turn it into a you thing and like, you always do that. We're not doing this shit anymore. This is exhausting. We are too young for this. If they're giving empty promises constantly, then you need to go. If you have a partner and you've been dating for several years, and originally it was like, oh, we're going to go get married, we're going to go do this. And now it's every excuse under the sun of why they're not going to propose to you. Why do we have to get proposing now? Or why are you rushing me? Like, I'm going to get there. Oh, well, shut up. Like, literally every time I hear that devastates me. Do not be a long-term girlfriend like that. Do not deal with empty promises, because you are always going to be that, because you're there still because you're a placeholder and because you're dealing with it. And that's so sad, but you're still dealing with their bullshit. You're still letting it go and you're still around and giving them wifey treatment or the best treatment there is. And they're not giving you anything and they're giving you empty promises and you believe it every time. And it's so sad because I've been in that exact same position. So when I'm calling y'all out, I've been there before and someone had to do the same damn thing to me. You do not deserve empty promises. If you keep hearing the same old thing of, I will do this, I'll change it, blah, 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 and they keep doing it, you got to go, because they know that they can keep doing it to you because you're going to stay. Like, no matter what they say, you're going to stay. You're going to be around for them. You're going to still do the same thing. You're still going to love them deeply. You're still going to put in the effort. You're going to do everything. That should tell you that you need to go, because what one piece of shit won't do, another one will do. Another person that's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Another person's going to be like, oh, that's it? Oh my God, that's a bare minimum. Of course I can do that for you. It is out there. Empty promises are not something we should be expecting whatsoever. You want an empty promise? Go be around a politician. If you want to listen to empty promises all damn day, go do that. Like, literally, there's so many other places that you can listen to empty promises for funsies. You don't need that in your own relationship. That is quite literally exhausting you. Now, a couple other things I really need to put out there that I need to knock in everyone, because this is very important, is if you had a child right now with the person that you're with, and if they were exactly like the person right now, exactly, okay? Look at me, don't make excuses, how they're acting right now. Would you be like, oh, that's so sweet. They're such a good person. They're so kind. They're so understanding. Or would you immediately cringe? Some of y'all immediately cringed. I'm sure you're like, I would want a little bit different. I would, oh, well, that won't happen. Okay. You're dating them though. You're with them right now. If they suck and you don't want a child that's exactly like that, go. If you can't say that about your partner, you need to go. Like, you need to flat out go. If another example of this is if you had a child and if that child was looking up to your partner, do you think that anyone should look up to your partner in that way? Is he a good influence? Are they a good influence? Are they kind? Are they loving? Like, would that be someone that you would want to raise a kid and be a parental figure? If you're like, no, if you think you'd have to micromanage that, if you think that, oh, I'm going to have to take care of it to make sure that, no, That is so alarming. You should not want that. Those should be extreme red flags to you. And another question that I don't think I see a lot of people mentioning, but I think it's very important too, is if for those of you who do want children, I know not everyone does, but for those of you who do want children, or I mean, shit, let's say you don't want kids, but just this analogy might still be beneficial. If you had kids right now and they treated your child exactly like how they treat you, would you be happy with that? Would you think that's a good parent? And would you think that's neglect? Would you think that is kind? Would you think that's a good parent? Or would you be pissed at it? Removing yourself from that at least might help you think about it otherwise. Because for me, if I were to sit here and think about a awful person, like if I was experiencing certain things and making excuses of, well, they promised they'll change. Do you want your child to sit through, your future child to sit through empty promises of they'll be better to your child? They'll be nicer. Do you want that for them? No, then you need to go. If not for you, for your future kids, because your future kids do not deserve that. And neither do you. You don't deserve that at all. If this is going to help you think about this and realize, shit, this is not a healthy relationship, I have to go, then that's what I'm going to tell you, because you need to really think. If you have a little 3-year-old getting told the same things, getting treated the same way that you are, is that going to make you feel good? Or are you going to be alarmed and devastated for them? That is very sad. You need to realize then if it is not good, if it is not a good reaction, if your partner is not going to be kind, clearly not going to be a good person, make excuses, all of that, then yeah, it is your time to go. And to kind of wrap up this video, there's one other point that I want to make is I think you need to trust yourself a lot more. If you are questioning the relationship in general and you deep down don't feel good, you know you the best. You are not going to up by leaving something if you deep down know it is not going to work out. You need to practice trusting yourself more. If something is not making you feel good like this and you've done your best, you are not quitting on someone. You are not giving up. You are knowing when to leave because someone else is giving up on you. I know for a long time, I had this fear of like, I don't want to give up on someone. I don't want to give up. I don't want to make them to think I'm giving up on them. I don't want them to think that I don't love them and I don't care. And that I thought that love could save everything. I thought that not giving up was good. And it's not. It's not always good. Love does not fix everything. Your kindness is getting wasted. And it's really sad. It's devastating to think about, but you need to trust yourself more and know that love cannot fix. And if someone does not want to change and be good, they're not going to. If they won't do it on their own, what the makes you think that you putting in all this effort, begging and pleading is going to make it change? If they can't look at you and think, wow, I need to do better, they are a problem. And you're not giving up. And I don't give a if you leave and they're like, you're giving up, they're projecting. They had an opportunity. You've given chance after chance after chance. And you deep down know this is not working and it's not good for you. And I know it's scary. I know it's overwhelming. I know it's really hard to sit down and accept that like, wow, I have to make this hard decision. But your future self is going to thank you. And your future self is going to feel more secure in trusting your own decisions because you have to take one step in the right direction of trusting yourself because you know what's good for you in your future. And another thing too, even if the person is not malicious or not good, you can still be loved wrong by someone. They can still be very, very good, but still not doing things right, still not doing things even though you keep trying to work it out. And that's a lack of compatibility, and that's okay. It is not the end of the world. You have to acknowledge and trust yourself and know, I don't feel good. Because if you're in something that's good, you're going to know, and you're going to feel good, and you're going to feel safe, and you're going to feel secure, and you're going to be able to talk about it healthily, and you could talk to other friends and family and everything. You're going to be able to really think about it and know this is a good decision or this is a bad decision. And if you're watching this right now, some of y'all know exactly what you're supposed to do. And it hurts and it sucks. And I'm so sorry. And I know this is not a fun thing to do. Give it a month, maybe give it a month and a half. There are billions of people in this world. There are so many people, so many different people. If someone is so lucky to come across you who is kind and loving and empathetic and good with communication, then you are going to be lucky enough to come across somebody else who will give you that exact same energy, because clearly it's not that rare as you exist right now. And we all exist as we were watching this video together. Many of us wonderful, sweet human beings, we exist. We are going to find someone else that exists like that, who is going to give us the exact same energy that we deserve. And if we keep wasting our time and not trusting ourselves, we're wasting our time from allowing us to meet our future spouse. And that is not something that either one of us should be dealing with. One other thing I forgot to mention that I thought was really important is your soulmate and your person, your best friend and family would not hate. Now, there are exceptions to this. There are exceptions. There are some family members and mother-in-law, all that, that are toxic and shitty, okay? But if you have a really good family, if you have really good friends, they all wouldn't just hate your person. They all wouldn't despise him and be like, that person's a piece of shit. That person's not good for you. If you're getting told that by friends, I think that's another sign that you need to go. If you hit a point to where you're not telling your friends anything because you're scared of them looking at your partner as like a piece of shit, they probably are. Like, you should be, your soulmate, your person, like your person that's going to be amazing is not going to embarrass you and is not going to make it to where you can't talk about your things or struggles or like with friends. Your person is not going to make it to where you avoid family or avoid talking to your family about them because it's like, oh, if I don't like them, what do I? Your family is going to love them. And I know there's some shitty family. That aside, your family and your best friend is going to be like, oh, they're good for you. I'm so happy. This is the one. They're not going to be like, you need to leave. This isn't good. This isn't healthy. Please, like, you deserve more. That wouldn't happen. And it's a very clear difference when you see family with friends and friends that are like, oh my God, this person's wonderful. I love them for you versus we're just dealing with them because you were dating them and that's it. That's really sad. So keep that in mind as well, because I think that's another huge contender. But at the end of the day, pick your suck. If you're wasting your time in a shitty relationship and you know it, you are still going to waste it even longer, and then it's just going to fail inevitably, or you're just going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Or you leave now, you get it over with, and it still sucks, but guess what? It's going to suck for an even less amount of time. You're able to move on, heal, and be perfectly fine after that. Hanging up for the rest of your life on one person who's not good for you is not worth it. There are so many people out there. That was it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell button down below. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on the Spotify podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. I am trying to grow so we can hit 75 5-star reviews. I think that would be pretty amazing. But anyways, don't forget to stay tuned for the next episode. I'm so excited to release it. And I will see you guys in the next video. And don't forget that I've got you. Bye.